All right, good morning. This morning I wanted to show you how to do the Common Lit portion of our Google Classroom schedule. So you guys can't see it quite yet, but every day there's going to be a schedule posted that tells you what we're going to work on. And for the most part, it's going to stay the same. So if you look down, the third thing we're going to do today is called Common Lit. Now, there's going to be a link posted for you with an assigned story for the day that we're going to read on this website called Common Lit. However, if you, for example, have trouble getting there from our link, I'm going to show you two ways that you can get there. All right, now the first thing is if you're already signed into your school Google account, meaning if you were to go to the Google search bar to open something new, the little picture that would appear or the little, if it was like a letter or something, it would say your MCHS school email. So if you're already logged in, and you type into the search bar Common Lit, COMMONLIT, even if you typed in nothing else. All right, the first thing that's going to come up is this website, commonlit.org. So if you click on it, what will come up for you is a page that looks like this. You're either going to click login or sign up. Now, if you just go to sign up, it's going to ask you a few questions. You would click on the I am a student, and you would need to enter a class code, which I can give you. All right. However, if you're already logged in and instead of going to sign up, you go to login, right? So if you're in your Google Classroom login, nothing's going to come up for you here like it does for me because I have my things saved. And I would recommend if you're using your school computer that you choose the little keep me logged in button here. But you can click login with Google. Now, login with Google is going to let you log in with your school account. So for me, because this is my school email address, I would click on the Danny Bain, and it's going to go ahead and let me log in. All right, so yours is going to look different than mine, but essentially what it's going to show you is Common Lit is this website that allows you to read different stories online. So one story we're not going to read that we'll click on here that we'll just look at, we'll click on this one called The Gift of the Magi. So if you get this assigned to you, the first thing when you click on the story, you'll see that there's a lot of different tools you can use here on Common Lit. Okay. Now, since I'm an educator, there's certain buttons up here like assign text that you won't see or download PDF. Now, you already have the downloaded PDF of every story. So even though this is something that is assigned on this website, you still can read the story and answer the questions on paper before looking at this. So before I kind of show you the different things that you're going to have assigned to you, I want to show you some of the different tools that you can use here. All right. Number one is the font size. And I know Mrs. Frank would love me to explain to you. You can always make the font size bigger. All right. So if you click on the biggest font size and you still don't like how small the writing is and you need to see it bigger, you can use the control button and the plus sign on your computer and you can make it even larger. All right. But if the size that it gives you here is big enough, all right, the size that they give you here is big enough, you can keep it on this size, all right? Or you can choose whichever one works best for you. All right, another one of the tools that this gives you is it gives you the option for reading it aloud. So if you click on this, I'm going to tell you, it's not the most interesting audiobook, but if you have trouble or you don't want to read this on your own, especially once you guys start to work through these stories on your own time, you can click this read aloud button.
The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry, 1902. O. Henry, 1862 to 9.
So you can see that it shows you specifically what part is being read so that you can follow along, and you can also jump ahead. So for example, if I don't want to read all this author information and I left off on the second paragraph, I can jump down here.
There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl.
Now, you cannot use this to slow down or speed up like I know you can do with some audiobooks on YouTube, but it's still a helpful tool. Another thing that you can do is this button where it says new and there's a little picture of a highlighter. You can highlight or add annotations to your work. So for the first couple stories we read, this is something that maybe we say is not required. But if I were to say I want you to have at least 5 annotations to a story, all you do is you click on this button, all right? And let's say you decide you want to annotate the first sentence, $1.87. You would highlight that using your mouse, all right? And you can choose just to have it highlighted, all right? And you can pick the color. You can also, with your annotations, and I should have done, I guess, with that one, but you can also add text with it, which a true annotation is not just highlighting. A true annotation has some kind of a thought that goes along with it. So maybe I put, this is very important, and I type that. Now this is my annotation. And so when I'm reading this later on, I will be able to see that those things show up. All right, so those are some of the tools that you have. Now, with each of the stories that we are going to be reading on Common Lit, all right, you're going to have guiding questions, which means that as you travel down and you look at the text, one of the things you're going to notice first is that there are all these little numbers, okay? With these little numbers, what that does is for the word that comes right before it, if you click on the number, it tells you the definition of that word, which is really helpful. If you're reading this on paper, the words will be listed at the bottom of the page. All right, so as you scroll down the story, let's exit out of this vocabulary word, you'll notice that at the end of certain paragraphs, there's going to be this little bubble that says Q1, Q2, Q3. If you're using this on the computer version, which even if you're reading this on your own, you're still going to need to answer these questions on the computer version to get your points. What's going to come up is when you reach these questions, it'll tell you this is one of 6 questions for the entire story. And it's going to be multiple choice. So based on the part that comes everything before Q1, so from the beginning to here, the question is asking you, how is Della feeling? So we haven't read the story together, so I'm just want to show you. These questions are not based on whether or not you get them correct the first time. So let's just say we say Della is excited because Christmas was tomorrow. That sounds good to me. That's wrong. However, when you're answering these guided questions, the point of it is not to give you a test. The point of it is to make sure that you understand what it is you're reading. So you get to choose as many times until you get the correct answer. All right, so now we know, okay, how is Della feeling? She was upset because she didn't have much money to spend on a gift for Jim. All right, now if you're reading this on the computer, you're going to need to get this question correct before you can see the text that comes after. All right, now if you look as I'm scrolling down, Q1, all right, Q2 now is here, so the next one will come here for Q2. So these guided questions are just one part of your assignment when we work on Common Lit, okay? The second part is when you're all done, you're going to have assessment questions. Now these questions are going to be a little bit tougher, and these questions are not going to tell you whether or not you got the answer correct, all right? So you're just going to have to make sure you take your time and read carefully. All right, what Mrs. Frank and I will use these for is up in the corner where there is this little kind of abbreviation. We're using this to figure out what skills you do really well with. All right, so for example, if you've heard of the state standards, this skill is looking at how you can determine a theme or central idea of a text. So if you were to get this question right, it would mean that you do pretty well with that skill. If you get it wrong, it's information from Ms. Frank and I on how we need to help you improve your skills in English and language arts. So these questions are more like what I would call quiz questions, all right? So you're going to answer these when you're done. Even though these questions will appear on your paper copy, you must answer them on the electronic copy. Some of them are multiple choice. Some of them require you to type, all right? Now, because you can't see your spelling or your grammar and, if you spelled something wrong, that's okay. But on the longer questions, I would just want you to make sure that you fully explain yourself. So usually the answers to these would be at least 2 or 3 sentences long, all right? When you're all done, there's going to be a button for you to submit. And this is going to be the part that you receive, not how many you got correct credit for, but we're going to be looking at this. So if you don't do these parts, you're not going to get points for the story. So that's how you use the Common Lit tool. All right. Now you, like I said, will see this pop up as an assignment on here, and you'll have to click on the assignment and it'll take you to the story. All right. So that's our Common Lit